Hey, writers and muse daters. Today I wanted to talk to you about the starving artist. So we've got this cliche out there of the starving artist. And when we talk about that, we're usually talking about it in terms of money. But today I want to talk to you about the starving artist syndrome that happens around feedback. So what I've found is that authors, writers are really struggling to find high quality feedback that will move their writing forward, that will advance them, that will get them published not once, not twice, but over and over and over again, because that kind of feedback is really hard to find. So some of you may have seen from the post in the group that we just finished with a super successful salon. It filled up really quickly. There was a waiting list, so I'm sorry to those of you who weren't able to get on, but truly they do fill up fast. Why do they fill up fast? Because they give writers the taste of possibility. So what can quality feedback look like? We show you that in these sample salons that I offer about 4 times a year here in this group, so that you can see that feedback, quality feedback, really is a possibility. Hello, thank you for the likes. Hi, Dana. Hi, Gordon. Nice to see you in here. Let me know if you have questions about feedback. Hola, ¿qué pasa? So feedback is one of the most important elements of quality writing, and it's one that I see writers mess up probably the most frequently. Of the mistakes that I see people make, this one's a big one. So what happens when people don't get this right, when they mess it up? Well, you know, you've heard this story from me in varying forms, but I've got it again. It happened just last week. There was an author that I had worked with in the past. He had a finished manuscript. He had a top agent, like a really hard agent to get to even talk to you, interested in his piece and wanted a full manuscript. And he came to me and he said, you know, she wants this full manuscript. What should I do? And so I told him what he should do. This is an agent that I know really well. I have had lunch with this agent on several occasions, and she is super persnickety about the things that she's super persnickety about. And he didn't follow my advice. He he sent in his manuscript basically as is, and sure enough, months later, last week, we were on the phone. I think it was actually about a year later. It took her a year to get back, and we were on the phone last week, me and this writer, and it was rejected. And obviously he was very upset, he was distraught, and mostly he didn't understand why. Why did his manuscript get rejected? Because he didn't get the kind of feedback on it before submitting it that he needed. And so he missed this opportunity with this top agent. She works with top publishing houses. I mean, pretty much if she takes you on, you're guaranteed to have publishing success. And he missed that opportunity. Why? Because he didn't get the right kind of feedback. So let's talk about somebody else, somebody that you might have seen around here in Write to Publish, somebody that you might know pretty well. Stephen Oliver, shout out to you, Stephen Oliver. Are you listening? Let me know. So I've been working with Stephen for a while, and I'm really, really excited with what he's doing over in the Publishing Mastermind, because another one of my agent friends, somebody else that I have lunch with on a regular basis, I was chatting with her a couple of weeks ago. I mentioned Stephen's manuscript, which he and I were at that point in the process of editing, completing the manuscript, the final manuscript edit on that in the Publishing Mastermind. And she was like, oh my gosh, send it to me. And I said, okay, I will. It's not done yet. And so Stephen and I are in the process of preparing that for her. Now look, this woman has active relationships and publishes on a regular basis with Little Brown and Company, Macmillan, Charles Scribner, Prentice Hall, Simon & Schuster, Harcourt Brace Janovitz, Doubleday, Scholastic, St. Martin's. The list goes on and on. Those are big names, right? So getting the right kind of feedback leads you to that kind of publishing success. So I just want you to think about this for a minute. Which writer do you want to be? Do you want to be that first writer I talked about, or do you want to be that second writer that I talked about? Where do you want your prospects to be? Because the kind of feedback that you solicit and have in your life are going to make a huge impact on that. So getting back to that starving artist, what are the starving artists starving for? They're starving for quality feedback. The impulse to share your writing, to get that quality feedback is real. It's huge. It's legitimate. You should be doing this, but you should be doing it right. And so many starving artists settle for the scraps that they can get thrown from the table, right? They chat with their neighbor, like I talked about in a post yesterday, or they go to these free writing groups at the library. You know, as I said in yesterday's post, like maybe 1 in a million chance you're going to get some quality feedback. But what's more likely is the sob story that I've heard over and over and over and over again, that these scraps that you get are meaningless, not helpful, unproductive, don't move your writing forward, and in fact, harm it. They bring it in the opposite direction. I've had many writers cry on this teeny tiny shoulder here about meaningless feedback, hurtful feedback, feedback that kept writers from writing for years. Years. That's not okay. You don't want those kind of scraps. You want a meal. We've got a great meal. We've got an entire buffet laid out for you over in the Writing Gym VIP membership and the Publishing Mastermind. We're ready to share that meal with you. We've got a seat for you at that table if you want it. If you want a seat at that table, I'm going to throw a link into the comments. We can talk about where your writing is, where you want it to go, and how you can get there, and how you can get a seat at a real banquet table. Happy writing.